I didn't catch him. He didn't get exposed. There were no screenshots sent to me, no anonymous messages, no dramatic confrontation. He just sat down one evening, looked at me and said, "There's something I need to tell you, and it's going to hurt. We've been married for over 30 years. I thought that meant something. The moment everything shifted, his name is Daniel. We've built a life together, not a flashy one, but a real one. Decades of shared routines, inside jokes, quiet nights, family traditions, and the kind of history that makes you believe betrayal is something that happens to other people. So when he told me he had been having an affair, my brain refused to process the words. And then he said, "How long?" 7.5 years, almost a quarter of our marriage, and it was still happening. Why this doesn't make sense to me. Daniel was never the stereotypical cheating husband. He didn't come home late. He didn't hide his phone. He didn't suddenly change his appearance or routines. If anything, he became quieter, more distant, more distracted, less present. For years I felt like he was slowly slipping away, but there were no obvious red flags. I blamed work stress, burnout, depression, aging, anything except another woman. I never thought he was capable of this. That's the part that scares me the most. WHO she is, and what he told me. Her name is Lena, a former colleague. Someone I'd never met. Someone I never suspected. Daniel told me their relationship started emotionally and got complicated fast. He described her as emotionally unstable, moody, struggling with mental health issues, and lacking a strong support system. He said she leaned on him heavily. He also said that over the years, she threatened to expose the affair, to contact me, to send proof, to ruin everything if he tried to leave. According to him, fear kept him stuck. He claims he wanted to end the affair, almost from the very beginning, but he also admitted he didn't want to lose either of us. That contradiction is still ringing in my ears. The admission I can't stop thinking about then. He said something that hurt more than the affair itself. He told me that Lena gave him something. He never knew he was missing. A deep emotional connection. He said he felt safe with her. Safe enough to open up. Safe enough to talk about his fears, his insecurities, his inner world. Daniel has never been emotionally open with me. For years I begged him to talk to me. I told him his silence was pushing me away, that I felt lonely inside my own marriage. And now I know where those conversations went. Just not to me. What the affair actually looked like this wasn't occasional. They talked for hours most days. Video calls while working remotely. They texted late at night on a hidden app so it wouldn't appear on our phone bill. He took days off work to be with her. She went with him on nearly all of his work trips. Meanwhile, our marriage slowly starved. Our intimacy disappeared. Our connection faded. Our life together became quiet and distant. I thought we were growing apart. I didn't know he was investing that energy somewhere else. Why I feel so lost right now. Daniel says he never wanted to leave me. He says he loves me. He says he felt trapped, manipulated, afraid of what would happen if he told the truth. But for 7.5 years, he made a choice. Every day, to lie, to hide, to protect his secret instead of protecting me. I haven't even decided what this means yet. I don't know if I'm staying. I don't know if I'm leaving. I don't know what I believe. All I know is this. The man I thought I knew doesn't exist anymore, and I don't know what comes next. The more he explained, the less I understood after the confession. Nothing felt real. We were sitting in the same house, drinking the same coffee, sleeping in the same bed, but it felt like I had been dropped into someone else's life. Daniel kept talking, explaining, backtracking, filling in details I never asked for, and avoiding the ones I wanted most, and the more he tried to make sense of it all, the less sense it made to me. I never mean for it to last this long. That was one of the first things he said. That it just happened. That it started emotionally. That it was supposed to end early on. But 7.5 years isn't something that happens to you. It's something you choose. Over and over again. When I asked him why he didn't end it, his answers shifted. Sometimes it was fear. Sometimes guilt. Sometimes concern for her mental health. Sometimes concern for mine. None of those answers explained why he kept showing up for her. The story he tells about her, according to Daniel, Lena was emotionally unstable. He said she was moody, intense, unpredictable, that she struggled with her mental health and didn't have much of a support system, that she leaned on him heavily and would spiral when he tried to pull away. He said she threatened to tell me, threatened to send proof, threatened to blow up our lives. He described himself as trapped. But here's the thing I can't reconcile. Someone who is truly trapped doesn't take days off work to be with the person trapping them. They don't bring them on nearly every work trip. They don't spend hours every day on video calls. That doesn't look like fear. That looks like commitment. What he gave her, and not me, this is the part that keeps replaying in my head. Daniel told me he felt emotionally safe with her, that he could tell her things he never told anyone else, that she opened him up. I wanted to scream, because for years I asked him for exactly that. I told him I felt shut out. I told him his silence hurt me. I told him I felt like I was living next to him, not with him. He always said, "That's just how I am." Apparently, that wasn't true. Apparently, that's just how he was with me. The double life I didn't see as the details came out. I realized how carefully his life had been divided. There was our marriage, quiet, distant, predictable, and then there was them. Hours of daily contact, late-night texting on a hidden app, private jokes, emotional intimacy, shared routines. He built a second relationship inside the cracks of our first, and I never saw it because I trusted him. When I asked the question he held an answer, I finally asked him something simple. If you were so afraid of her, why didn't you tell me? He stared at the floor for a long time before answering. He said he was convinced I would leave him, that telling me would mean losing everything. That silence felt safer. That answer landed hard, because what he was really saying was this. He was willing to risk my reality, but not his comfort. The timing that doesn't feel like a conjure's another detail I can't ignore. He didn't confess when the affair started. He didn't confess when it crossed emotional lines. He didn't confess when it turned physical. He confessed when things were starting to fall apart. When I told him he felt distant. When I said I couldn't keep living like this. When pressure was coming from both sides. That makes me wonder, was this honesty or damage control? What he says now, he says he loves me. He says he's relieved it's over. He says he's gone no contact with her. He says he wants to fight for our marriage, and maybe he means all of it. But meaning something now doesn't erase what happened then. 7.5 years of lies don't disappear because someone finally tells the truth. Where I am stuck, I feel pulled in opposite directions. One part of me sees his remorse and wants to believe change is possible. Another part of me keeps asking, who was he protecting all these years? Me or himself? I don't know which version of him is real, the man who sat beside me for 30 years, or the man who lived a second life without hesitation. The truth I'm afraid to face, there's a moment after betrayal that no one talks about. Not the screaming, not the crying, not the shock, the moment when the story stops changing and you realize this is all you're ever going to get. That's where I am now. When the details stopped coming after a few days, Daniel stopped offering new information, not because there was nothing left to say, but because I stopped asking. Every answer created more questions. Every explanation felt carefully shaped, not to lie exactly, but not to hurt himself either. He told me he was relieved. It was over. that he felt lighter, that he hated the person he became. But I noticed something unsettling. He talked about the affair like something that happened to him, not something he actively sustained for years. The part he couldn't explain away, I asked him one last thing. Was there ever a moment where you chose her over me? He didn't answer right away, and that pause told me everything. Eventually, he said, I never thought of it that way, but that was the problem, because for 7.5 years, he didn't have to think about it. The choice was already built into his silence. No contact, but not no history. He swore he'd gone no contact with Lena, blocked her, deleted the apps, cut off every line of communication. I believe that part. What I don't believe is that a relationship built on daily emotional intimacy for nearly a decade simply disappears. Even if the messages stop, even if the contact ends, the bond doesn't vanish overnight, and I don't know where I fit in while that untangles. The love that doesn't look the same anymore, I still love him. That's the part people don't understand. Love doesn't turn off just because the truth finally arrives. But it doesn't look the same either. Now it sits next to anger, distrust, grief. I look at him and see two versions. The man who built a life with me, and the man who protected a secret life at my expense. I don't know which one will win will. The consequences that never came I still haven't told anyone. No family, no friends. So, outwardly, nothing has changed. He goes to work. We eat dinner. We talk about logistics and counseling and next steps. But inside, I'm screaming. Because there's something deeply unfair about carrying the full weight of betrayal alone, while the person who caused it gets to quietly work on himself. What I'm starting to see clearly, this wasn't just an affair. It was avoidance. Avoidance of honesty. Avoidance of conflict. Avoidance of intimacy with me. Instead of facing our problems, he outsourced his emotional life to someone else, and then convinced himself it wasn't a choice. That realization hurts more than anything else he said. The question that finally matters I used to ask myself, can I forgive him? Can we recover? Can this marriage be saved? Now I'm asking a different question. Can I live with someone who was capable of this level of compartmentalization and trust that he won't do it again? Because love isn't the problem. Trust is. Where this leaves me, I haven't decided yet. Stay, leave, try. Walk away. Right now, I'm sitting with the truth instead of running from it. For the first time in years, I'm not minimizing my pain to protect someone else's comfort. Whatever happens next, it will be a choice made with open eyes, not fear. Not hope, not silence. Fennel line, sometimes the hardest part of betrayal isn't losing the person you loved. It's realizing how long you were loving someone who was never fully there.